We're going to start off with just plain old major scale melody playing. We're going to start off in the key of G, down here around the 3rd fret. That ought to be comfortable territory for most players, and the key of G only has one sharp in it, F sharp. I've always felt like when you're talking about keys that have a whole bunch of sharps or flats in it, it just makes it seem harder somehow. So we're going to start here in the key of G. Some of you may not play the major scale much, if at all, and so we're going to show it to you here slowly, and I hope everybody else will be patient here. I'll just play through it one time and call out the notes, and then we'll go back through and tell you where to put your fingers. The G major scale is spelled G, A, B, C, D, E, F sharp, G. And so that first G note, 5th fret on the D string, on the 5th fret on the D string, A, 2nd fret on the G string, B, 3rd fret on the G string, C, 5th fret on the G string, D, 3rd fret on the B string, E, 5th fret on the B string, F sharp, 2nd fret E string, G, 3rd fret E string. So let's just play that up and down a couple of times just to make sure we have it under our fingers. And so playing our pairs here, we start on G, our thirds, start on G, we skip A, and the first third that we're going to have is going to be that G and B pair. Then the next note up is A. The third up, skip B and play C. Well, we can't play both these notes on the same string at the same time, and so we're going to play this C note here on the 1st fret of the B string. You could also play that pair on the D strings by playing the 7th fret D string and 5th fret G string. The next pair is going to be, next note up is B. We don't play C, we play D. There's the next pair, B, D. The next note up is C, and don't play D, play E. There's our next pair, C, E. Now we have a bit of a problem. Our next note up is F sharp, and we can't play it and its third up, which would be the note A, both on the same string, and we don't have any strings above that 2nd fret E string, so we're going to play this F sharp note up here on the B string, the 7th fret of the B string, and then play that note A, which is a third above it, in the G major scale. And then, same problem with our G note, we're going to play at the 8th fret on the B string, and its third above it is the note B, just like we started with here. Here's the octave. So we'll be playing the 8th fret B string and the 7th fret of the E string. And so let's just play that up an octave, the harmonized G major scale, harmonized in thirds. G, B, A, C, B, D, C, E, D, F sharp, E, G. I think I may have skipped that one our first run through. F sharp, A, and B. G and B. Real nice, isn't it? Nothing to it at all. Now what we're going to do to practice this is we're going to play the folk tune "Oh Susanna," something that most people know, even in 2011, I hope. And it's a simple major pentatonic melody here starting out. Let's look at it as single notes first. It goes G, B, G, A, B, D, D, E, D, B, G, A, B, B, A, G, A. Let's just start with that. We'll do it again. G, A, B, D, D, E, D, B, G, A, B, B, A, G, A. Let's play that again. Now let's just add our thirds above it. You're going to see how wonderful it sounds. Let's try that again. What is the problem there? Well, the problem is that we're playing here in the key of G, and the chord we're playing is a G chord. We don't have anybody else playing it for us. We're unaccompanied, but you all know what it's supposed to sound like and what the harmony is supposed to be. And so, the problem is when you get up to this D note here, the third above this note D is the note F sharp. And as to the G chord of the moment, that F sharp is the major seventh as to that G chord, which is a very nice chord. If you were playing a jazz tune or maybe a schmaltzy country and western tune, it might be just great. But as to this particular context, that major seventh just doesn't sound quite right. It doesn't sound wrong, but it doesn't sound appropriate. And so here we are, we're not even through the first phrase of our first little halting folk tune, and we already have to have an exception. And here's the deal. On important notes in your phrase, be they beginnings or ends of phrases or just notes that are significant, held notes, that type of thing, repeated notes in this case, you need to conform, or you may think it sounds better, if you conform your harmony note to the chord of the moment. And so what that means in this context is, instead of playing D, F sharp, play the perfect fourth, D, G instead. And let's see how that sounds. Now that sounds much, much better, or at least to my ears it does. And that also illustrates another rule. If you're playing that, it means that we're using that same G harmony note as for both the D melody note and the E melody note. And that's another lesson here, is that the harmony note doesn't necessarily have to move all the time. You may find that a static harmony note may sound good for 2 or even 3 notes in a row. It doesn't have to move strictly in parallel.